group had two tasks to look at. The first was improving educator productivity and also making learning accessible to all students. The one of our tasks we had to look at was that educators do spend a lot of time on administrative tasks such as lesson plans and grading. And then of course, the other being that learning does need to be accessible to a wide range of students and their abilities. So our We Believe statement is that we believe designing personalized learning can actually save teachers time. And our app that we have created will support the goals of letting teachers select many different activities for each unit that are specifically directed toward the learning path of students. And students can each actually have their own level of path. Teachers can also choose units from their own uploads or their own creations, or they can go out and look for things that other users have put up that have made them public. They also can make personalized learning pathways individually for those students. It will allow for some remediation or some extra activities to meet some of those standards. And of course, as we mentioned, that common area to share some activities. And now I'll turn it over to Dana.
Okay, sounds good. So the intended users that we came up with is for any student of all ages, from kindergarten up through higher education, undergraduate, graduate school. It could be searchable for certain needs with students with disabilities. Also, it could be searchable for different levels, maybe at advanced, students that needed advanced work, or maybe a slower paced work for their students. So this would be also available on mobile devices and also interoperable within learning management systems. Okay, I think that's it. Troy?
So the app has kind of two different interfaces that you would see. You would have the teacher-based interface, which would be integrated with your course management system. Like in Canvas, they have the Creative Commons. Or you would have your student-based interface, which would show a learning pathway that the teacher could then manipulate and allow for students to be either remediated if they're struggling with a topic and receive different paths, or extended if they're advanced and moving through the topic easily. This would all be then aggregated into an area where it would be searchable and user-created so that teachers wouldn't have to be recreating different activities over and over again. They could use the work of other teachers. It would allow you to tag your work so that you could search for things based on their standards or based on the different interfaces. And an interface that's similar to the one that we have envisioned is kind of like the following interface. Where you could have different weeks set up and reports and questions and answers, and the students could then go through and pick different activities within and have more personalized selections on what they would be doing. And I'll turn it over to Jean.
So on the student side, we liked the fact that students would have some option in picking what they were interested in doing and what they felt like they needed some more help with. We would also, though, want teachers the ability to dictate certain activities for the unit or for the week. Very similar to actually the way that our learning pathways are occurring right now for the course. So there are certain things we have to do. We do have some options in the direction that our learning goes, though, however. On the teacher side, looking at the Creative Commons interface was something that we were very excited about. So Dana's showing us from her screen, so you can see, you can search by name, by idea for the unit, also search by grade level. We were also considering being able to search by tag. So as teachers put in their units, if they were able to tag them for certain state standards, then people could also search by state standard as well. So you'd have the ability to go through and explore and see what other people are doing and to be able to pull those into your own unit. We are also very aware that we want this to be accessible for not only all students, but all teachers who are using the site. So we want, as much as possible, everything to be able to be read by audio programs to help out anyone with vision impairments. not just having to click and drag things necessarily if you have mobility issues, so that we do want a multitude of ways for people to be able to interface with the site to make it work. So for the technical side, I'll turn it over to Ben. Hey, Ben, your mic's off.
I knew I would forget that. So we had a few different things to discuss here, and once we had a good idea of what we actually wanted to do with our app, this part wrote itself pretty easily, I think. One of the main aspects on the technical side that we'll need is internet access. Both the teachers and the students are going to need an internet connection to access any of the content that we create. The next one we discussed was programming ability. We kind of left this a bit open-ended, but whoever's designing the system needs to have a basic understanding of some programming language to make it all work together. One of the main concepts we also talked about was we want this to work on any device, so mobile devices, cross-platform, cross-operating system. So the idea of responsive web design comes into play here. Depending on what your screen looks like, what your monitor size is, this should all work no matter what you're using. On the data side of things, there needs to be a pretty solid understanding of database management, data storage, SQL programming, and things along those lines. As our app grows, we'll certainly be in control of more data and more content, so all of that needs to be pretty well managed. And then the front end for the user side of things, a pretty good understanding of web design and web hosting. This is what the users are going to see, so it needs to look pretty good. So that's our app in a nutshell.